red day, it could flip in no time. Green wig, big risk, I'm calm when the chat goes frantic. Fear high, greed low, I just read what the charts wanna show. New coin, old game, same rules when you're playing with flame. Welcome to the show, it's even now though. Every single level on the chart gets exposed. Crypto on my mind while the market's reload. Read it in the lines, yeah, the charts don't lie. Welcome to the show, it's 7 now though. Trading through the noise while the candles explode. If you wanna know where the next wave goes, watch it in real time, yeah, the charts don't lie. Yeah. Break out, fake out, I wait for the close, not a shout. Plan set, no guess, I'm stacking my wins, cut the stress. New high, pull back, I'm ready when price attacks. Fast moves, clear rules, we learn why the crowd chases moves. Welcome to the show, it's 7 now though. Every single level on the chart gets exposed. Crypto on my mind while the markets reload. Read it in the lines, yeah, the charts don't lie. Welcome to the show, it's 7 now though. Trading through the noise while the candles explode. If you wanna know where the next wave goes, watch it in real time, yeah, the charts don't lie. Lock in, hit play, we're live, we're live. Don't look away. Evan Auto, yeah, the charts don't lie. Now you know. Now you know.
I gotta like edit the thing with the new tunes and all that going forward. But so far so good. What's up, Johnny? How's it going, man? Hope you're doing well. I feel like this may get stopped out, to be completely transparent with you guys. This was a kind of scalp long I was trying. Freaking the S&P 500 kind of cratered as well. I gotta like edit. So hear myself talking. Okay. The S&P 500 itself kind of cratered as well, so that could be part of the reason why. We could get a little jump here, but I wouldn't, I wouldn't enter this at the moment, maybe with a more lenient stop loss. It's going to be a more range-bound market, so I haven't scalp traded in a few months, actually, so that's probably why I'm getting railed here, but not really. I mean, it's any trade could obviously, you're never going to be right 100% of the time or all that. I was thinking this would be a pretty good support and you'd come back to a little bit higher. This was ahead, this is ahead a little bit more. So that was the thing. Are you sure the audio is messed up? Far so good. What's up, Johnny? How's it going? I feel like this may get stopped out, to be completely transparent with you guys. This was trying. This sounds fine to me. Audio sounds fine. Yeah, I mean, Plan E, I mean, I would guess. I mean, the thing too is like, well, it depends what you're exiting, but I mean, I would recommend more conversions then. I mean, I've had for macro stuff, more macro allocations. I've had the most success converting to stuff like the S&P 500, stuff like gold, even Nasdaq, rather than cash. Even freaking if you wanted to be like a good wealth preservation tool that's technically half cash would be Berkshire Hathaway. S&P 500, some people are getting excited about this. Not going to say any names. Some people are getting excited about this making a new all-time high. Not so fast. So I'm down in this trade. Hopefully I don't lose $4,000 here. I put too much in this. That's always what happens when you put a larger position. It was kind of for the stream though. But anyway, that's just embarrassing, but it's okay. Anyway, so let's see. I wanted to look at, yeah, I mean, this is, predictably kind of boring. I think this will come down with everything else, because it's so highly weighted in like, Apple stock and all that still. Well, he sold some of it, but still. But yeah. Audio's fine. I don't know what you're talking about. Your audio's messed up. uh, I just listened to the audio. Plan E says it's fine. I don't know what you're talking about, man. Sorry, yeah. I don't know. Could somebody confirm, is the audio good or not? I don't. What do you mean by messed up? I don't. Is it too low? Too high? I think audio's been fine. Yeah. It's probably, it was, you might have heard a slight echo for a little bit when I had it on my phone, but it should be good. Um, Sorry if I sounded arrogant there. Not too happy about this trade, I'll be honest. It's okay. Um, yeah, you could reject more. I think the thing though is like, if you're trying to convert to something crypto related, I mean, they're probably too degenerate, but MicroStrategy keeps outperforming a lot of these. That's been the first thing I've been looking at. XLE is a good bet, for the next 4 to 6 months. Our energy bugs out there. That seems like a no-brainer to me. I mean, obviously putting all your money in XLE is going to be risky, obviously, but to try to trade that for long for the next 4 months seems like a very good idea. XLE coming up. Bitcoin, I'm hoping that this is what the scalp long was based off of. I'm hoping this plays out, but maybe it won't. So yeah. Always appreciate you guys smashing the like button, all that good stuff. Been doing some more Twitter Spaces lately. I probably should have uploaded a video, yesterday talking about the I don't know, the consolidation here. I think it's going to be boring probably for another week, and then you're probably going to head back down. I'm not saying you're going to necessarily make a lower low right away or whatever, but you're probably going to head back down. That's the main thing. I would think some people are selling here. You're probably going to be choppy. They'll probably find a way to stop at the longs and the shorts, as they generally do. But yeah, market is going to bore us to death. Pop in the next month by then, February. It absolutely could, man. I mean, I've seen that so many times. And bear markets are complicated, man. You could pop up to like, I don't want to say 80K. I think that's a little bit too optimistic, but like mid 70s is my view. But yeah, you could get above there. I mean, if you pop up from this range bound area, 76, that's definitely doable. Your daily 200 is still at freaking 102. I don't think you're gonna hit that for a while. I'm just curious about that if we look in previous, because the last time you lost that in this bear market, obviously 2022, you tested it twice actually. But I think this is different. I think we're more like here now. And the good part of that is that it means we're going to bottom out quicker. And you didn't go back above until January 23. That was not a bad place, obviously, to have gotten in. I mean, anywhere around here, obviously not bad in the grand scheme of things. I think we're over here right now. But I don't think, I think we're over here right now, but I don't think this FTX drop will happen. I think you got one more leg down, and that's probably it. That's my guess. So that's the thing. Like, if you're trying to sell right now, I think that, like, she's a 5 out of 10. You know what I mean? Like, a 5 out of 10 is not necessarily something you want to give up. You're probably going to be able to find better. Most of us could do a little bit better than a 5 usually. If you get my drift, for investing and all that, usually you could get a 7 to 8, those type of situations. But I don't know if you want to sell a 5, you know what I mean? Convert it to maybe energy, something that you think will outperform it. You could look at, we're going to become 95 years old, but I mean, Berkshire Hathaway versus Bitcoin. I think I measured it out, when, let's just measure out by time. I did this on the SPY too, but, I mean, if we look at date range, let's get our date range out and see how long it took in previous, kind of bear markets to the top there. It was 21 bars. This bear market right here was 20 bars, essentially. That was, from the October. And then this one Where would 20 bars be? October, it's still October, yeah. And this probably will continue to outperform Bitcoin. But if you're putting it into cash, that's the thing. You may be okay, but it's usually, that's how people get railed usually and just bleed a lot against S&P 500 when they go too heavy cash. It's been a good market to short, obviously. Yeah, I mean, look at previous trades. Yeah. But when it gets choppy, there's going to be other ways. Yeah, you could get away with just shorting. I probably, in hindsight, obviously not a good idea to scalp long, but I liked the 2 hour. I do think this still has potential. I got to be careful here because I may get stopped out, but we'll see. We'll definitely have to see. So that's the area there. Let's move this back so you guys can see it. Let's see, it's quantum computing noise. Yeah, there's always gonna be that, always gonna be stuff like that. I don't think that's a concern. Because I think if that's a concern, that's a concern for everything. That's a concern for your bank account. That's a concern for your, your TradFi. I think that's a concern for almost everything, in my opinion. So, yeah. What's up, Hack Trades? That's just that's just people trying to engagement farm on Twitter and get followers. I mean, that's just people just saying putting rage attention stuff on Twitter. What the Epstein was Satoshi, that's all attention. That's just let me write the most ridiculous stuff to get people to get attention. That's the definition of nonsense. That's the definition of noise too. I can't even believe people are engaging with that conversation. But that doesn't mean okay, just because I don't think that's a concern about Bitcoin, which is obviously not a concern about Bitcoin, that doesn't mean I think Bitcoin has to immediately go back to 100K. It can still go down, despite that. I mean, like, that means nothing. The Epstein stuff, that has nothing to do with what I've like that's just the definition of that. That's like those people that were writing like a year or two ago, Bitcoin's going to $1 million in 30 days. Like it's just complete definition of stupidity, nonsense. Just it's all engagement farming. Yeah, let's look at silver. I wanted to just look at SPY versus Bitcoin quickly because I did out the BOZ. I mean, where's the oops. Yeah, so I mean this would point to August actually, this one. So I think August is more, it'll probably get choppy more as we're seeing right now. SPY versus Bitcoin. I mean, this year the SPY has outperformed Bitcoin by, I don't know, 50%. Wow, it's a good amount. You're getting there. I mean, it was 277 last time. Like I said, guys, grand scheme I mean, it'll probably be something with a 1 in front of it. I could see it getting a little bit higher, but we'll see. Yeah. I mean, I think quantum is obviously a bigger, much, yeah, like the Epstein concern is like just engagement pure engagement farming. The quantum concern is there's something a little bit there, but that's not just Bitcoin, that's everything. That if you're really afraid of quantum, you want to be stacking silver and gold in your parents' basements, probably. Like if you're really afraid of, because at that point, that's the only thing. Like anything digital is gone at that point. You want to be probably physical. Bullets, guns. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but I mean, food. I get non-perishable food. I don't know. Have a farm. It's like what is at that point like. You want to be self-sufficient, I would say. And I think those are generally pretty, good things to be prepared with. Although, some people go crazy with it, with their bunkers and all that, and then nothing really ends up happening, you know what I mean? So, but, yeah, something to think about a little bit. Silver, I think, is going to generally kind of go sideways downward. I think it's going to be a snooze fest. I think there's going to be a lot of consolidation. You could go back to 54. I don't know. I mean, long term, I do think silver will do good. I don't think it's going to be all said and done with silver probably until like the mid 2030s, mid 2030s. So maybe 8 to 10 more years. You know what I mean? Um, But I do think, the rest of this year, the SPY should outperform silver. I mean, let's just look at SPY versus silver. Even Bitcoin could have, it's getting a big jump there. It's like at that similar, yeah. I think you'll see consolidation like over here for a few years, and then you'll have one last sideways for a few years and one last drop down or something, you know. So yeah. I mean, I didn't look too much at the Epstein stuff that came out. Dude played Xbox Live. Like from the mental aspect of that, I don't even know if I should be talking about that, but it feels like the guy was trying to be a 14-year-old boy. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what it comes across. Like playing Xbox Live, he's doing everything a 14-year-old child or a 14-year-old teenager would be interested in doing at those points. Could have been from, derived to, obviously not an excuse, could have been derived from like maybe bullying, maybe a rough childhood at those years or something, maybe young teenage years, developmental years. I could see part of that being the reason. And then when you become, a high school teacher to being worth, $500 million, which back being worth $1 billion in today's money, you think you're unstoppable and can get away with literally anything. Those are my thoughts on that generally. That's what it seems like. I guess the other question, obviously, and then I think the blackmail parts too. Like I think a lot of people, obviously, that went to the island were not aware of the underage aspects of it. I think they were just looking for pay to play. They weren't really looking for anything underage, obviously, and then the blackmail, the stuff like that. That's where it comes in. I also think if there wasn't any blackmail or probably secretive filming and stuff, Epstein would probably still be alive. He would probably be in jail. You know what I mean? He would probably, like, a guy that arrogant and self-centered and, thinking you would never kill yourself, obviously. I mean, we all know that already, but. Yeah, I mean, Satoshi, that's the thing people are, it's just engagement. I mean, this is what everyone's doing. There's engagement farming, Satoshi being Epstein, it's all engagement farming. Um, it's just all, I mean, there's no evidence of that. Like, that's like me saying, I mean, that's the same odds of like saying anyone's Satoshi. Like, that's not, like, we all know that Hal Finney is like, at least knew who Satoshi was or was one of the people that worked on it. You know what I mean? That's the closest. It was probably multiple people. And Hal Finney was probably the most involved. He was in the right time zone. You kind of knew it was someone in California. He was there. He had ALS. He couldn't do much. Like the odds of him being the most contributing person to Bitcoin is like over 90%. Even if he wasn't the true creator, he was up there. He was the first person to receive Bitcoin or whatever. And his family had other wallets. Like, they're not going to touch the OG wallet. He had other wallets, and Satoshi even told everyone that they should have more than one wallet. You're not going to touch that OG wallet. He probably destroyed it or whatever. He had other wallets, and he wanted to be anonymous. Why would you touch that? You know what I mean? There were a few decent videos about Epstein and crypto on Coinro's channel. They were decent and kind of debunk any direct connection with it. Yeah. I mean, oh, okay. So I didn't even know he was an early investor. But I mean, what's considered an early investor? If he bought it in the 2018 or 2017 bull run, is that really an early investor ever? That was all over that, but everyone and their brother knew about it by then. Like, and all these billionaires, they own a lot of crap. Just because he threw maybe $1 million in it or a couple hundred grand in it, for the hell of it when it was at 10 or 20K. I don't think, let's see here. Yeah, let's see, Coin Bureau's channel. Yeah. I don't think, most people of that level, I would say they throw around money and stuff. They throw around, like, I think about it, if you're a billionaire right now, you probably have thrown around some money in some AI stocks, in the last 12 months. You've probably thrown around some money in Bitcoin in the last few years, probably. Maybe even as early as 2018, just for the hell of it, just to have some exposure. You've probably thrown in some money in the Nasdaq. You probably own a lot of crap. You know what I mean? You're probably pretty well diversified. That's what I would argue. So yeah. The other theory, I mean, you got to think about it. He had like the best connections in the world too. Like you're talking to the smartest people on earth too. And I'm sure some of them were smart enough to get into Bitcoin in 2017, you know. Earlier than that, I mean, maybe as well. I mean, people knew, if you guys aren't familiar, I mean, people started to find out more about Bitcoin 2013. That bull run is where everyone, like, if you knew about Bitcoin before 2013, like it wasn't that, like, it was on gambling forums. It was on, I mean, it was mainly illegal stuff. People used it back then. But I mean, 2013, people knew about it because it did so well. It went up to $1,000 a coin. What was I going to say? Yeah, it was on, before then it was on gambling forums. 2013 to before Ulbricht went to prison, got caught. That was a lot of Silk Road crap. That was a lot of illegal stuff. The vibes back then in 24, I was kind of in. I mean, I bought it in 2014, but I didn't keep enough. I was an 18-year-old kid. I didn't have much money. I threw a few $100. I mean, yeah, okay, it would have been worth 68 grand today, or 100 grand at some points, 126 at some points, at one point, but I didn't have enough, but when you look at it back then, it was a lot of illegal stuff people were using it for. The public view on it was really negative too. Like, the people that did know about it, I remember I mentioned it to my dad, who I wouldn't like knock him or think less of him for thinking this, but he was really highly, and he kind of knew what it was. He knew what it was because of the illegal stuff, and he was really, he thought if you bought it, they weren't a thing. You're going to get in trouble or something for drugs or whatnot. And and I mean, I don't knock anyone who thought that back then. That's mainly it kind of was the truth. That's mainly what people were doing with it. I mean, let's be real. And that's why I didn't really believe in it back then. I thought the government would either ban it or something, or, I didn't read up enough about it. It's like anything else of that market cap. I mean, there was so many things of that market cap, that small market cap. And I mean, we all know at the end of the day, only 1 out of 1,000 of them are gonna, still be relevant in 10, 20 years, Let's see. Bitcoin's faucet. An altcoin stream? Yeah, sure. I mean, I'll look at some altcoins. I mean, I would say out of any altcoin, XRP probably looks the most attractive right now. It's possible, due to monetary policy, some of them, could have already bought. It's possible. I wouldn't bet much on it, but it's possible some of them could have bought them. I like this on the weekly because of the damn 200 weekly SMA. There were some, yeah. You were able to technically, I think can you mine it with just a laptop? I mean, obviously it would not be power efficient one bit, but could you, wasn't it easier? I'm not a mining expert by any means, but couldn't you mine back then, like, not that difficultly or whatever? Like, couldn't you do it on a laptop or so? It was probably so slow, but yeah, different time. So yeah. People knew. I didn't know about it until 2014. That's when I found it. And most people, I was a senior in high school. I mentioned it to a lot of people. I did mention it to people. The nerdy kids that were into math had at least heard about it. They knew what it was to a certain extent. No, everyone was clueless on it. No one thought it would, obviously go up that much. But that's to be fair, that's the same with anything that was at that market cap that had those type of returns in that amount of time. Like, I wouldn't knock anyone for, Did you take the Bitcoin? I mean, I mean, are you serious? This was in what, 2011? Yeah, I don't even, 2011, from what I heard, I never knew about it back then, but from what I heard is it was on some gambling forums. People were using it for gambling. I'm sure, when did Silk Road come out? I don't even know. That's before I was like 13 back then. I mean, I was 14 years old. Oh, okay. Yeah, the thing too, I mean, there's a lot of those people that did mine, back then. That's, yeah, I mean, good for them. Kudos to them. They're probably all very, very wealthy, I would think. I mean, unless they were just trying to, unless they didn't believe in it long term, they were just trying to dump it. You would think they at least kept maybe 10 coins. I mean, they got a lot, I would think. I don't know the specifics of back then. I definitely don't, but yeah. Go check out Hype. Yeah, let's look at some alts. This is not looking good at the moment. Scalp trade's not doing too well. Oh no, it's XRP. But the Bitcoin's not doing it. Anyway, I might try to just give up on this, but yeah. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's still a newer coin. I don't know, man. I mean, I would think it's going to come down. I mean, and the reason why is because every damn coin people have hyped up and talked about, over the last few years, this doesn't look like a good pattern right here. I mean, it doesn't, I think it'll probably come down. I mean, everything people have been excited to, you know, hasn't been that strong in the past few years. I don't think this doesn't look good. That trigger waves for me on the 4-day. I personally wouldn't buy it, but yeah, I mean, it came down 80%. Yeah, okay. So I guess some of you guys are OGs. You've been around. I mean, I never knew about it until the end of 2014. I first found out about it at the exact bottom, basically. Um, I wasn't even going on Reddit too much back then, at least not for Bitcoin Reddit and stuff like that. I didn't really understand it back then, to be honest with you. I really did. I mean, there was Litecoin. I really didn't understand it. I was just an 18-year-old kid. I mean, I wasn't, or I was seven. Was I 17 at the time? Yeah, I think I was 17. Yeah, I was seven. I was close to 18. I think I first bought it with some like gift card you got to buy at a store and scratch off, and then I used that on Circle or Coinbase or something to buy it. So yeah, and I think I bought it with a debit card. Once I turned 18, I was able to get a debit card, a real checking account, and so yeah. What was I gonna say here? But yeah, I don't. The thing too is everybody throughout my high school years, everybody had so much PTSD for any type of investment too, because it was just such a bad bear market through that lost decade from 2000 to 2010. Everyone had PTSD, the whole time. And I don't knock anybody for this, but the whole time I was from 2011 onward, I was listening to people saying stock market's going to crash again. It's going to be worse than '08. It's going to go back. You know what I mean? That's what everyone said. From years onward. Everyone had PTSD from that, and they climbed the wall of worry, and it's still climbed the wall of worry. Since then for the last how many years? 16 years, 15 years. So yeah. I kind of wish I messed around with stocks earlier, more when I was in high school. Like, there's a guy in my Discord he's 18, I think, but yeah, I mean, I wish I messed around with trading and stuff earlier because it was just so low risk, high reward because you didn't have any money back then. You would have you would have lost the little bit you had to learn. You know what I mean? A lot of, I mean, generally most people discourage. I mean, even in college too. I wasn't a finance major, but I had a lot of friends that were in finance at U Miami, and they were. I mean, some of them would mess around with individual stocks and stuff, but even they were more of like just follow the S&P 500 and all that. Um, you know, which they, it's interesting too, the frugality of some people too throughout like I would say I've seen it the most in like the northeast of the US. You know, a lot of those like because there's a lot of people that I mean I'm going to be 29 soon, but there's people I know that, that I grew up with that still live with their parents, but they really don't have to. They make enough and they really stack stuff in the S&P 500 and all that. Um there's that frugality. I mean, I feel like they kind of get screwed a little bit because they're like bored, and stuff, and then they blow money on like sports betting and other, so something's gonna get you. You know what I mean? Not all. I don't know. That's maybe like one person, but you know, so you do look at it like that. But I feel like in places like Miami, it's more people are a little bit more risky with it. Um, I would imagine with how well the market's done, because some friends I had, and they were from not real wealthy families, but some I would say middle class to upper middle class, and they were putting money in the S&P 500 when they were 18, 19 years old. Like I mean, 10, 20 grand, things. Their summer jobs and all that, they'd maybe make 5 grand to summer, maybe more. I'm trying to think what they would. I forget what the hell. Maybe caddying. That's too. There's always this notion of like, every minimum wage or low paying job or whatever is garbage and you're just dealing with idiots. But there's some decent ones. I mean, working at country clubs, I mean, that's probably what I would do, do caddying, something like that. Something golf really. Golf is always so ritzy of a freaking sport. So yeah, I mean, there's that, but I would imagine they're probably well. I mean, if they yeah, they're probably they're not millionaires by their late 20s, but they're multiple hundreds of thousands. I mean, they're enough where some of them have bought properties, some of them no. They're probably enough where they could. Most of them are enough where they could. They do work a lot of hours, a lot of them though. I mean, some of those standard like 9 to 5 jobs, like I mean, it's a lot, man. I mean, it's not. I'll tell you. I mean, I did it 1 year as a paralegal, and it's that notion, and I mean it's pretty obvious, but I mean you're not getting, you're getting your employer wealthier, and I mean they take more risk and all that, but it's still, I mean it's kind of, hopefully this plays out here. It's looking a little bit better at the moment, but maybe we'll come back from the depths of hell in this trade. But yeah, I mean you're kind of getting your employer wealthier. I, this is kind of getting into life advice a little bit, but visualization. Surround yourself with people you want to be like. Easier said than done sometimes. Exploratory. You know, you're in a day and age where they print money out the wazoo. You're in a day and age where AI is incredible. You probably deserve more than staying in a cubicle 12 hours a day. I'll say that. It doesn't mean you should want the government to give it to you or somebody else to give it to you, because that's incompetent and it's probably not going to happen and it's probably going to take forever even if it does happen. But have a little bit of self-esteem, I'd say. Let's see. Lost your Bitcoin when you upgraded your PC in 20. Okay, well, I guess it wasn't that important to you, right? If you just left the keys in it, well, aren't you supposed to write down the keys? Yeah, don't they? You're supposed to write down the keys, bro. You're not supposed to even have it on a computer, because then if you get hacked, you're screwed. Yeah. You didn't know even I knew a little bit better than that back in 2014. I knew to write it down, and like I would keep it in like yeah, I would hide it somewhere or whatever. I wrote it down. Was the Exodus wallet around back then? I think that's the one I used. It was one of those. I think you did have privacy tokens back then too. Yeah, what was it? Was it Monero? You had privacy yeah, Monero was around for a while. You did have, yeah. That's probably the one that's in the most danger of being banned or something, because, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but the Zcash, the Monero jump, I think people were doing some, like it was pump and dump too. Like I'll give you that. It was pump and dump, but people were converting that to probably staying under the radar, and I would assume to avoid paying taxes. I mean, I don't know what countries the people were in, but probably all over. Because when you convert to Monero, you're kind of, You could probably pretend you lost the Bitcoin. You know what I mean? You could probably pretend you lost the things of that nature. I don't know though. I'm just speculating. I'm completely speculating, but yeah. Trump here. XRP, I think, does look a little bit attractive. Big area. It's a gamble, but I don't think this is a bad place. You know, I don't think like, well, yeah, I mean, that could 70% down could be a bear market bottom, assuming this is relevant, you know, assuming this stays relevant, which I think it's got a decent shot of doing. Um, mm, yeah, I mean, I guess it wasn't too important to you if you lost the sticky note. I mean, I didn't know how many of you guys. It's kind of surprised. I didn't. Well, two of you guys were in bad. The most majority of you guys probably were not. Didn't find out about Bitcoin until, or didn't buy it at least probably until 2017, 2018. I think that's probably when most. I mean, that's when most people in the world probably found out about it. You know what I mean? Or at least started to kind of figure out the utility of it to a certain extent. You know what I mean? So that's the thing here. I think that is a SPY still red on the day. Yeah, slightly. We got a few more hours. I wanted to look at Google. I think it's obviously down, right? AI bubble popping. Drop down there, yeah. That's probably going to come down like everything else. I mean, this could get screwed, I guess. Probably not that down that far, though. Maybe 20 to 30. I think anything AI is going to kind of get wrecked over the next 4 to 6 months or something. But keep in mind, guys, how long does the average bear market last for anything in general? And it obviously varies. Like, I get that, but it's about a year, you know. End of this year, freaking Palantir, if you can get that, like, I don't want to say any really low ass numbers, but I mean, like 70, we would hope, you know, 60s, that area, you know, that's what I would hope for. Oh, we're fighting back. We are fighting back. Could reject from where I entered it or whatever, but yeah. It's a scalper's market, I would say, you know. There's some decent. I gotta look a little bit more. It's been a minute since, but there's some decent strategies on low time frames. Like this would be a decent place to enter for a scalp. I would say, you know. Let's see. Back then it was hash. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, guys, let me show you some stuff. The BYDFI is still going on for a few more days. It's got really good deposit bonuses if you guys want to trade. There's a lot of strategies. We do really well in the Discord. We got Nightshade in there. And myself, obviously, posting a lot of good stuff, including this losing. Well, I think it may come back. Doing this trade. But check it out. The link is down below. It's $35 a month. We're doing a bear market sale. BYDFI's got a good thing too. 20% for fees for life. BloFin's good as well. We're going to get you guys. The trading competition just ended on BloFin, but we're going to get you guys a new promo really, really soon. So check that out if you guys are interested. The link is down below for both of those. Check it out. 20% for fees for life. And we do well in the Discord. I will say that. This is one of the. Well, I don't want to knock anybody else, but I think this is one of the best ones. There's nobody who gives like the entry point, stop losses, take profits like we do. Nobody wants the accountability. You know what I mean? That's the very unique thing, and a lot of people really respect that. So yeah, more reasonable charts. What do you mean by more reasonable charts? Do you mean Binance? What do you? Coinbase is kind of where everything's moving around. I mean, they're all kind of the same. The Binance one is weird because everything went down 5 times as much on there on October 10th or whatever. I wouldn't look at Binance too much. This does not look good in that 12-hour on ETH. Ooh. well, good. This short will short will do well. Short should do well, assuming that. So yeah. This don't look too, yeah, Palantir. That don't look too good, I'll say. Palantir, it's not too late to try to get put options or something. That could be a good one. I was on Nick Cipher's Flopping Groper stream. He was talking about, he's got some put options on this, got some call options in XLE. I mean, those are like the best non-crypto bets right now. Put options on this or short this, long XLE. I mean, XLE is phenomenal. There's always some obvious kind of trade or something. I feel like more or less it was kind of before it was gold to a certain extent. I'll be honest, I kind of missed out on that. I've had gold, but I converted some crypto over to gold, some of it at the end of October, so it's done pretty well. But now I think it's more energy, that's what I would say. Lower volume in comparison. Like, what should I look at then? To educate me, what should I look at? Just curious. Always appreciate you guys smashing the like button too. So yeah, that's XRP right there. Let's see here. That one's down. It's silver, Berkshire Hathaway. BMNR I wanted to look at. I'm not too hopeful on this, but I think 90% correction. If you compare it to MicroStrategy corrected about 90% last bear market. Now, this versus Bitcoin, I just want to see, because obviously if it can't outperform Bitcoin, it's just wild when you look at this, because it got that jump up and then, yeah, I don't know, about 80%. I mean, that's what MicroStrategy crashed against Bitcoin last bear market. So there's that. I have no idea. Does this whole, I mean, I don't know. Let me draw a little, I mean, it could be a decent gamble. Like, I'd probably rather buy this, to be honest with you, than a lot of other altcoins, because this is just like leveraged ETH, obviously. So it's not, if you think ETH's got a future, which starting to get a little hazy there, but if you think ETH's got a future, this could be a thing. I feel like we've gotten to enough points where Tom Lee has said there's going to be a bottom and there wasn't. So maybe this has, let's look at this versus ETH, I guess. I mean, that's the thing too. I mean, it's still above there on its ETH evaluation just because ETH has done crap. I mean, yeah. The volatility is weird on this. I don't know. I mean, if you were to do this very small position, I would say. Oh, this is the genius. Let's see. This versus Mr. Ooh, that's weird. That's interesting. Okay. It's actually come up generally, which is very weird chart, but interesting. I don't know. Interesting area. Who in the world knows if this is going to hold? I don't. It's been outperforming it though, since that jump, which is pretty wild. I wouldn't have even guessed that. I would have guessed it's probably been bleeding against it. That's interesting. That is very interesting. I don't know though. I mean, I guess this is before they even owned. Yeah, I don't know. Cycle low of, yeah. I'm always used to looking at Coinbase. I mean, the Bybit ones are not bad, I've heard. But yeah, let's look at Well, yeah, we could look at ETH on the macro. Why not? Yeah. I think that, I mean, this correction was 81%, which is not that bad. 94%, let's just see what we've corrected so far from the, if you're doing that 15% better every time, then, well, no, I'd say it would still go down farther. I don't know. It would probably be this low around there. If you had to estimate, that 71, I don't know, 75. It's hard to say. It could be as late as October, as early as next month. It's hard to say. I don't know. I think ETH is kind of weak, at the moment, especially against Bitcoin. But I want to see what happens, Um, 3 week is bad. I would say trigger wave on the 2 week should give you a little something. It's been years since you've seen that, or probably since here, for it's been a long time. Yeah, Tom Lee is sleazier than Michael Saylor. He just wants people to buy the thing. I don't like that either. So, if I were to buy, BMNR, I would buy a very small amount. Maybe like 10% of what I have of MicroStrategy, like something like if I had 10 grand of MicroStrategy, maybe $1,000. I don't know if it's some of these guys, man. They're such sleazeballs. I don't know too much about Tom Lee's background, but some of these guys are such sleazeballs. Oh. Yeah, I've seen people do that with the you're looking at, it's different if you're on a linear, right? You could do that one. That area, 13, 15. It's hard, man. I don't know. It could be that previous, high back in frickin' 20 years ago now, January 2018, a long time ago now. 8 years. Not the best situation. It's hard to say on this. 3 week trigger wave may give you something, or should, like it did back here. That was kind of, went down, but yeah, if you had some patience, I'd wait for that at least, probably March, April, we could talk about, it could have been bottomed, 2 week, 200 SMA. It's possible, unlikely, I would say, but it could have been, there could have been something there, that type of situation. So yeah, the trade is coming back though. I know nobody wants to see it, but the trade is coming back. So yeah, let's see here. I think this is gonna head down though, and that would strengthen that argument. So I think I'm in a good position right now. Generally, I don't think it's too bad. Still down a bit, but yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up, guys. Not too much to talk about at the moment. Too much else to talk about at the moment. So yeah, if we get the clarity match, yeah. I don't know the latest on the Clarity Act, but that's probably months away, obviously, and that could generally mark a good buying opportunity. So yeah. Anyway, guys, if you're interested in trading, check out the links down below. BloFin and Bybit are down below. There's some good promos going on, especially on the BidFi. BloFin and BidFi down below. This one ends in a few days. Nice deposit bonus. BloFin, good too. Check them out. No KYC, no VPN. I'll see you guys in the Discord. We'll do a live chat relatively soon, maybe tonight if I have time. Have a good one, guys. Goodbye.